Hey guys, it's Bill from Linden, Tennessee. You see before you an empty back section of the Jeep. That's because over the last week or so, I've been working diligently, working hard on getting this last battery box finished. And as of today, I do believe I've got it done. So let's pan over here. Oh, first I want to make mention of this little guy. Some of you may have seen my other video where I did a comparison between a gasoline lawnmower and an electric lawnmower. If you didn't see that, you should go check it out. It's pretty shocking results. Since I mentioned that, I've got a good friend. His name is Ryan. He laughs at really dumb things, and he sent me a message saying that every time he heard me say shocking, it made him laugh. So you gotta take what Ryan says with a little grain of salt, though. He wants me to put louvers everywhere in a candy cane drive shaft. But, you know, he's from New Jersey. He can't help it. Well, he's not from New Jersey. He lives in New Jersey. Anywho, back to this, what we got going on. So, here is the back battery box. And got some mounts. This is the back part of the back battery box. So these will bolt to the bed of the Jeep nearest to the tailgate. And this is, of course, the electric side of the battery box. And dark as always. Made a little bracket right there with a Anderson connector, and then all my little BMS wires going in there. Oh man, I'm an idiot. So last time I did a video, I mentioned how some of the wires were pulling out of these little connectors, and I was very upset about that, and I wasn't sure what to do with it. And somebody commented on the video and said, "Hey dummy." Well, they didn't say dummy, but it was implied. And they said, "Hey dummy, why don't you just get a different crimper that will work with smaller gauge wire and connectors?" And I read that and I looked at it and I just sat there and like, I don't know why I haven't done that. I crimped all these damn wires and just dealt with the fact that I had the wrong tool. And this guy just casually goes on there and says, "Hey," and I didn't know. I didn't have a good answer. I didn't even have a bad answer. So not too shortly after that, I went on to Amazon and I ordered a damn crimper that does 24 gauge wire. And lo and behold, that sucker works like a champ. I didn't even bother to put glue in these connectors because like the crimp is just so good. I mean, I'm pretty annoyed at myself that it took me this long to get the thing, but anyway, I did it, and there you go. This went by pretty uneventfully. Everything just kind of went where it's supposed to go, and I didn't screw anything up, so that's pretty good. Yeah. Then on to the other side, the cooling system. I just finished up the coolant, running all the coolant loops, and there it is. And pump is just sitting there running, and the only real way you can tell that this is working is that the water is all swirly. But this is a fun thing. I like doing this. This just kind of shows how well this manifold system works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the water that's returning back into the bucket, and I'm just going to I'm going to take it out of the water and point it at the intake so we get some air in there. And you watch what happens. Well, that's pretty lame. Well, we're going to do that again after this clears itself up, because that was pretty lame. All right, here we go. Let's try this again. All right, here we go. That's better. So, bubbly water goes in and circulates around through the modules, and then eventually all comes out. How cool is that? It comes out like evenly and at the same time, and it's really neat. So, all right, so Ryan's not the only dork. I'm a dork too. So that is what we got going on, and I'm pretty dang excited about this, because now that this battery box is done, I can put it in position, and I've already figured out where all the cables and the connectors and stuff go. And this, man, this took me a really long time. Like, this looks so simple. So this is obviously from the BMS, and that's going to plug into my little bracket that I showed you right there. And then this guy right here is going to go right about there, and it's going to attach to my most positive battery terminal of this battery box, which is also the most positive terminal of the entire vehicle. So from the most positive of the battery through the fuse. This is a 600 amp Freza fuse. What do they call it? Faraz fuse. 600 amps. I'm hoping maybe somebody out there will know. That'll actually take more than 600 amps for brief moments. At least I hope so, because theoretically, potentially, I could be pulling 1,000 amps with this Tesla drive unit, and that fuse wouldn't like that too much if it kind of pops like a normal bus fuse in your 12-volt system does, but I don't think it does. And so this here terminal comes from the tank-mounted battery box, and this will go up into the most negative terminal of this rear battery box, and it'll complete that. Over on the other side, we've got some coolant loops, coolant hoses, and they are pretty self-explanatory. Then in the front, I didn't show you these brackets, but there's some holes. And in the back, those are the holes for the back mounts. So the front mounts, they're a little different. So part of this figuring out where that fuse is going to go and everything is, I got a maintenance disconnect. I've got one of these maintenance disconnects, and I was trying to figure out a way to put it into the system because I had convinced myself that I needed it, and it wasn't until I convinced myself that I don't actually need it that I was able to, get all this stuff working. And I don't think I'm going to need it because there are big yellow stickers all over this Orion BMS system saying, do not do any battery servicing until you have disconnected the BMS wires from the BMS. And if you're using a maintenance switch for its intended purpose for maintenance, there's no need to have that because you're going to disconnect those wires. I'm going to disconnect those wires from the BMS, and then I can just go to any one of those little quick disconnects and, disconnect the pack from itself. So, and essentially kill the pack. I can disconnect it at the tank mounted battery box. I can disconnect it at this one, or I can disconnect it at the front one, just depending on whatever I'm digging around in battery boxes for, and isolate the one that I need to deal with. So I've determined and convinced myself that I don't need a battery disconnect. So with that, I was able to just scoot this battery box back about 1 inch. I mean, like literally 1 inch. That is a 1 inch piece of tubing, 1 inch square tubing. And when I did that, it made room for this terminal from the tank box going up to the negative terminal of this battery, and the wire coming out from the BMS going this way and here, and then have a short run of 2-aught from here down to the fuse, and then the fuse, and then just bent a little piece of copper that goes out into the junction box where the gear shifter was. So that took days. And that's something that a lot of people don't understand is going to happen whenever you do one of these builds, that some little things, if you were to see this in a car show or something and not know who I am and didn't watch these videos, you just look at that and go, well, that's pretty obvious the way that all hooked up. But it isn't. And I don't know how to explain that. But you run into these little problems or little issues that you've got to deal with, and you'll just sit there and stare at it. You'll sit and stare at it for, an hour or 2 hours or just a long time, and you'll think about it at night. Well, maybe you won't, but I did. Think about it at night and not be able to get to bed, and then one day you'll just figure it out. and then that's it. And then you put it together, and it's simple, and anybody who didn't know any better it would be like, well, that's pretty obvious. So anyway, that's how this stuff works, and it's really gratifying, you know. So I really hope that these videos that I'm posting, along with all the dozens of other videos on YouTube, are inspirations to you to do this. Yeah, there's one other video out there. I think it's salvage to salvage, I think is the name of the YouTube channel, and they're a outfit. I'm not sure where they're from, but they're a custom car shop, and they're making a SEMA car. It's actually a C10 Chevy truck, and they're putting 2 Tesla large drive units in it. So they're using the full sub clip from the rear of a Tesla drive unit in the back, and making a custom frame and all that stuff, and then using a large drive unit in the front. And yeah, it's gonna be 4-wheel drive, well, all-wheel drive, I suppose. And it's pretty awesome, and they make some really good videos, and they know how to edit, and they know how to make interesting content. And but I know how to talk a little bit. But anyway, I am glad that you're watching these, and I hope that this is kind of an inspiration for you to go do the same. So with that, I'm going to end this one, and we'll see you next time.